All across the democratic world, the vast majority of nations now have written constitutions. The UK, New Zealand, and Israel are the notable exceptions. But at the same time, many non democratic and authoritarian nations also have constitutions. Examples include Afghanistan, China, Cuba, Egypt, Haiti, and North Korea, Russia, Rwanda, and Yemen. So if constitutions don't guarantee democracy, what purpose do they actually serve? First, when we say that the US has a constitution and that New Zealand doesn't have a constitution, what we mean is a written constitution. Because every country has a constitution, every organization has a constitution. Your family, your church, your business, and your country, they all have their own version of a constitution. Some organizations write their constitution on a piece of paper, and others do not. A constitution is a general understanding of how an organization is constituted, how it is constructed. It's a set of rules that clarify who does what in this organization, who holds power, and how this power is wielded. For example, can the CEO make a purchasing decision on his or her own, or do they need the treasurer's authorization? Can the minister decide who to hire and fire in his church, or is it a joint decision with others in the church? Can the breadwinner in a family decide how to spend the family's money, or does the other spouse control the family budget? Can the older brother discipline his younger siblings, or is it something that only the parents should do? Every organization, every family, every church, every company, and every country has answers to these questions. That is a constitution. It is the framework of rules through which an organization operates. So every organization has a constitution, but some of these organizations and some countries actually bother to write these constitutions down on paper and post them for all to see. So the question is, why write it down? This brings up the question of what written constitutions do. What are they good for? If constitutions are features of democracies and non-democracies alike, then it seems that they're not as useful as we imagine. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the famous American Supreme Court justice, pointed out that what is written on a piece of paper is not what shapes the law, or the political life, or life in a given society. What gives meaning and force to the words written on that piece of paper, she argued, is the sentiments of the people. So what makes England and New Zealand and the USA democracies is not whether they have a constitution, but whether their people have embraced democratic values and demand democracy in their civic lives and in their national politics. By the same token, what makes China and Turkey and Saudi Arabia what they are is the legal and political and moral beliefs of the Chinese, Turkish, and Saudi people and their leadership. So, if what's written on the page of a written constitution doesn't determine the laws and political character of a society, why bother writing a constitution? It might help to consider this question first on a small scale. What would make a family or a small business transform its unwritten constitution into a written constitution? What would make a family or business write out its constitution and post it on the fridge or the bulletin board? What prompts such an official act is a challenge to the way things have been till now. If one spouse wants to change the pre-existing power dynamic in the household, or if the children start arguing about their roles, duties, and rights in the family, that might prompt the parents to write down the rules that govern this family. That is, once there's a disagreement about who wields power and how, then there is reason to write down the organization's unwritten rules so that everyone can see that this is the rule. So in the future, instead of arguing and renegotiating and redeciding every time anew, all the members of this organization can point to the rulebook, the written document, to avoid or settle arguments. If we expand our scope again to countries with written constitutions, it's evident that written constitutions have 4 functions. They give clear, written, legalistic guidance to courts on how to rule in cases that come before them. Courts play an important role in democracies and non-democracies alike, and it's useful to the court to have a central legal document off of which to work. Second, written constitutions are a way to educate the citizens about how their country operates, what they owe the government, what the government owes them, etc. The written constitution is a civics lesson to help socialize citizens in their country. Third, written constitutions are a diplomatic message to the world about what kind of country this is. Finally, written constitutions provide stability in a society by curbing or tempering the people's impulse for change. Written constitutions are anti-democratic in this sense because they compel people in the present to live by rules established by people in the past. Without a written constitution, citizens could simply change the power arrangements in the country according to the will of the people at that time. And in this respect, it's probably no coincidence that written constitutions are a feature of the democratic age, the late 19th and 20th centuries, an age of great demographic, social, cultural, and political instability, an age in which the public has much more political power over its government and institutions, even in non democracies. So, written constitutions are an attempt to facilitate stability in an increasingly unstable society. Written constitutions set in stone the basic rules of the society in order to limit the people's ability to change the system back and forth and back again through regular politics. A written constitution is evidence that an organization, a family, a company, or a country had experienced great instability, uncertainty, and tension which threatened that organization with turmoil or even disintegration. A written constitution was a method to restore stability by setting permanent rules and to communicate to citizens, as a civics lesson, not only that these are the rules that govern our society, but that these are good rules that are worthy of our support and acquiescence. This is certainly the case with the US Constitution, which was the product of tremendous turmoil in the American Revolution. But if you examine other countries with written constitutions, you'll likewise find instability and tension and fear of disintegration as the impetus for their efforts to write a constitution. If you enjoyed our video, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe to our channel, The Public Diplomat. Make sure to leave us your thoughts in the comment section as well.